Okay, for our next lesson I've jumped ahead slightly and I've just drawn some basic geometry using standard AutoCAD commands. Now this is just representing the walls of our pretend floor, and notice I've actually put all of these onto, for my system, on a layer called Core. On your configuration you may well be using different layers, a layer called walls or various other things like that, but basically you just draw the drawing as you want to draw it, but it just needs to be on the correct layers for the walls and so on for your particular system. What we now need to do is we're going to draw the general areas of the floor. So what do we mean by general areas? Now this will be things like internal gross area, external gross area, and so on. So it's basically the large measured areas of the floor. Doing this is very simple. So all we need to do is swap to the particular layer. So I'm going to go for the external gross. So I've made it my current layer. I'm now just going to use the standard polyline command and proceed to go around, because it's the external gross. I'm going around the outside of the building, obviously. And I'm going to close that. Now it's quite important that you close it, purely to alleviate any errors. It will work with unclosed polylines, but it will give you a warning message because sometimes unclosed polylines can cause issues. You should also avoid polylines which cross over themselves, kind of like doing a figure of 8 type scenario. So you want just a basic polyline like that, as clean as possible. I'll just tidy it up. Okay, so there we have a polyline. That's for the external gross. I would do the same thing with things like the internal gross, or things like primary circulation and so on. Now these layer names will be different on your system, so whatever layer names you're using. Okay, so we're not going to spend too much time drawing all of the different polylines on the system. So what I will do, I'm just going to do a standard save, just because it's always a good idea to keep your drawing saved. And then what I'm going to do, we'll cover this in more detail later, but I'm just going to quickly publish this floor plan. So I'm going to hit the save drawing icon, and it runs through these rules. And as I say, we'll cover this in more detail later, but notice just for now that it's picked up one entity on our external gross and also some structure, which is basically our walls. So we're going to just come out of that. Now what we're going to do for the first time as part of this training, we're just going to go into the web interface, and I'm going to go to the sidebar here, and remember we put this new building or floor plan into Europe, UK, London, and then we call it test building. So there's a test building. Notice that it's showing the building name, not the code. And then floor is first floor. And here you see that we've actually started to get our floor plan start to appear, as basic as it is. But what I can also want to show you here in relation to the floor areas is if I go to the floor details and look in the areas, then notice it's picked up on our external gross polylines area and automatically put that into the system. Okay, so that's basically how to create floor area or gross floor area, general floor area polylines and publish them in the system.